Hello, I'm AppyX Toycat, and welcome back to an episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Updated Adventures Let's Play. Today, I'm going to be showing you weird and illegal things you can do with the partial blocks in Minecraft. Trapdoors or stairs are both blocks that don't take up a full space, even though they technically do, and there's loads of weird things that happen when you have these partial blocks that also try to act like full blocks, and let me show you some of those with this video, because my god, do some of these things feel so weird, strange, or even illegal. And let's dive into each of those, but first, let's go to our lovely test area. So this is the area of my world where I've been doing a lot more survival test builds, and let me show you a couple of things that I've been playing around with, because this is something you can make just using stairs, because of the ways you can put stairs in any combination and make a weird, kind of uncanny block missing in some stairs. It's very strange and it's very easy to do. All you've got to do is find 4 blocks in a row, just like this, place some stairs, and each of those stairs have the inner block facing towards the center, just like this, and what you'll make is a weird square. I don't know why. This one looks especially weird because it's got stairs going in and out of it. Oh yeah, I guess you could do that all the way, huh? You could place more on each and every individual block of this, and you could make an extra long, wide, and weirdly wide staircase, should you really want to. Should anyone really want to do this? Is maybe the question we should be asking. But yeah, you can make super long, weird holes that feel unnatural, and that's because stairs can be used in these weird ways. You can also use them to make something that a lot of people just feel a bit weird about, which is this, the eye block. If you do the exact reverse of what I just said, and every single stair faces outwards as opposed to inwards, what you'll eventually end up with, just like this, is... By the way, it's weird. When you mine stone stairs with a fortune pickaxe, sorry, with a non-silk touch pickaxe, you still get the stone back, but if you mine regular stone with a non-silk touch pickaxe, you only get cobblestone back. What's the logic in that, Minecraft? Shouldn't you get cobblestone stairs, really? Anyway, if you... Because shouldn't stairs be more fragile than the main block? But anyway, as you can see, you can make this lovely little eye shape that does the exact same thing, just in a different direction. It makes the square, but facing towards the next one. I guess this really is the same pattern if you tile it for long enough. But yeah, you can make these really fun little eye shapes that I think are very, very interesting at the very least. And you can use them to have kind of a vision through a wall, a way to see through, without having a way to attack things. However, Minecraft has problems from here on understanding when there isn't a gap there. And in case you're curious as to what I mean by that, allow me to show you, because obviously you can tell right now that if I place a torch here, you should be able to see the torch and all the light from that torch on the other side. Likewise, you can probably make the decent assumption that if I shoot a bow through what is clearly a gap, then the arrow will go through the gap. Is there any disagreements here yet? I don't think there should be. You can even take some tiny gaps in Minecraft, like, seriously, just one staircase you can use to make a weird slat, like a medieval castle, and boom, all of a sudden you're shooting through that. It's very fun. It's very interesting. But you can use this same kind of... this knowledge of where you should be able to shoot things and where light should go kind of starts to fall apart in a few ways. The first example might be stairs, I would say. Fences. We're talking about stairs all video long, which, again, at this point should just be called the 3/4 slab, because they're very rarely used for stairs, I feel like, on the higher end of Minecraft. But yeah, if we mine these blocks right here, and we instead place a fence over the top, because that's what people do. You place some blocks, and then just to be extra safe, you place a fence over. Probably should make sure the fence... we'll place on the side right here. Look how nice this is. So we place our fence over the top of this, and wow, now we've got a way that we can get out that mobs can't get in. Very handy little fact, by the way. But also, you'll notice we've got what is clearly a partial block on top of the wall. And you might be thinking, therefore, like, oh, this is very good for that bow situation, because you can shoot things through, and... wait. No, you can't, because this is a partial block that isn't a partial block. It looks like it is one, but it's actually just a solid block that has a transparent layer onto it. But no matter where you try shooting these things, they do just, again, like, you can see that. It's like getting nailed inside the air gaps in between, in a way that makes absolutely no sense. There are so many other blocks that are examples of this. We could go through all of them, but I will spare you the pain. But needless to say, like if we, I don't know, if we break this, for example. By the way, did you notice the fences there didn't connect to the stairs because they're facing outwards as opposed to inwards? Like, it kind of makes sense, but also doesn't make any sense. But if we place a iron door down, because we care about safety, and now we can't get ourselves out, the iron door has these lovely little holes in the front of it, and you know how these holes work? Well, you can't even shoot an arrow at it, because for some reason, when you left trigger or right-click a door, it just assumes you want to open it, even though there's no way to open an iron door, which is the weirdest either bug or intentional feature, I'm not sure. But as you can see, you can also shoot exactly at that iron door. So why is it that you can shoot through stairs? And the answer is, well, because Minecraft made it so you can shoot through stairs, but they didn't make it so you can shoot through fences. However, if there isn't the connected fence, you can shoot just around on both sides of it. So I guess they I guess they were just bored when they came up with these rules. Speaking of things they were clearly bored when they came up with, or maybe have just forgotten about, let me show you my other favorite thing about slabs and stairs, because you can use them in a very interesting way. Because like I was saying before, light and arrows will make it through one of these walls right here, which we can use to shoot mobs. I mean, there isn't one. He's on this side of the wall, but we could shoot him. But let me show you one of the weirdest things, because if I grab myself a torch, like I'll do right now, you'll see that it goes through the wall. Look, there is light on the other side of this one. If I break this torch and place that one, you can see how light has made it through, because there is air gaps on all of these that the light can obviously go through too. The same is true if you just have a single stair, like a staircase in the middle there. All of the light can go through. It's also going through the leaves here, but you get the point. And so let me show you one of the coolest ways you can utilize this. I'm deliberately making sure it's nighttime so I can show you this. One of my favorite ways to utilize this is the fact that light can make it through these stairs too. So if we dig ourselves a lovely floor right here, like which we'll do, and we make it out of stone bricks, because we love our stone bricks. They're a very, very valuable resource. Oh look, there's a parrot. He's making cute zombie noises too. So we make ourselves a floor entirely out of stone bricks. Then as you're going to see right here, these stone bricks, actually let's remove the torch over there, just to make sure that it's not muddying our results. So it's purely dark right here. You can tell from all the mobs spawning. However, underneath a floor, you can hide torches if the floor looks like this, because all you got to do is place your stairs. Oh man, you're really ruining my video here, Mr. Husk. Anyway, with that said, if we place the stair upside down, or even if we place it the right way up, but in a way that it clearly shouldn't be visible, you can see how light is coming from that floor despite no light being visible. Because even though these are clearly a 3/4 block, they are considered to be a transparent block. Minecraft, light can get through it and arrows can get through it, etc., etc., etc. And so because of that fact, you can let light in very strange ways that definitely don't make any sense. Even more weird is the fact that obviously if you do it upside down and there's no even indication of where the light is coming from, now people can get light into their builds and even highlight specific places. Because again, we could have this stone brick floor go as far as we want this way, and that light is just going to make it through in one particular patch, and you're never going to be able to tell why or where or how, and maybe that's cool. Maybe you like the idea of hidden light sources. You can also use carpets to achieve much the same thing. But yeah, we'll wait till tomorrow morning, because, there's many things we can do with light here, but most of it comes down to, did you know you can shoot arrows through some things, and you can put torches through some things, and sometimes they don't always make sense. So anyway, we're back here in the daytime now. As you can see, my wall is very nice. It's been significantly improved by this random patch of stone bricks on the ground. And I want to show you another very strange thing. Because obviously we can say, did you know acacia trapdoors, even though they've got these very clear holes in them, you can't shoot through the holes, and it's very strange. We could do this all day, basically saying that so many blocks in Minecraft you should be able to shoot through. You cannot for some reason. So there's me shooting through the hole while it's open. Here's me not shooting through the hole while it's closed. You can use these vision tricks to all sorts of advantages. One of my favorite ones, actually, that people use all the time, and it's just very weird to me, and it's only weird to me, and that's apparently okay, is the spruce trapdoor. The spruce trapdoor is definitely the prettiest trapdoor. If you look at all of the doors together, I think you'll agree that the best one is this the trapdoor up here? There we go. The best trapdoor in Minecraft, in my opinion, is hands down the spruce one. It's just a really, really pleasant, pleasing little design, and you can use it to make all sorts of weird things, because if you place it upright, it just kind of looks like a block. Place another trapdoor on top of that, and there we go. We've made ourselves a wall. Look how nice that is. But you can also use this because it's so thin, it takes up like 0.17 of a block or something, to make a wall in Minecraft that is only that thin. Previously you have to use a full block, but with the trapdoor, you can have a division between rooms or between the outside and the inside just be this wide. And because mobs can't knock down the trapdoors, this is perfectly fine for survival. You can even do some really weird things with it and make like two walls together and kind of make this like one wide gap between them. Should you really want to, I don't know why you would necessarily, but you can. Also, obviously, light will go through both these layers in ways that you just wouldn't expect, but it happens anyway, so we don't ask questions. Anyway, so what we can do is we can use this to make all sorts of weird little, like builds and permutations, and effectively have a wall like we're doing right now, that is going to be only one block. Oh God, what have I done? We're going to make a wall that is effectively one block wide on the inside. You can do, something that happens in real life all the time is this concept of a cavity wall, right? Like a wall that is deliberately, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Like there's an air gap in there and it stops noise getting through, etc. If you want to use realistic building standards in Minecraft because, that's what you enjoy in life, then you can do that. And I feel like you can basically summarize everything we're doing here as like, well, it doesn't make sense, but you can make it make sense if you really believe. Like, for instance, here are 8 buttons. I'm going to place them on the ground like so. 3 buttons over there, 3 buttons over here, and a button over there. This is a satanic ritual. I'm just kidding. What we can do of this is we can therefore grab a couple of buckets. One of my favorite things in Minecraft that probably makes less sense than it should is the bucket thing. And, like obviously 2 buckets is all you need to make an infinite amount of water. And then we place one over here and we place one over here because Minecraft doesn't know, or rather, because of the mechanics of water in Minecraft, they can't work out when and when not to have water flowing because water can only be in a state of source block, which can exist alongside buttons just like this. Wait, just like this. As you can see, it can exist as a, oh God, can I scoop that up now? It can exist as a source block, or it can exist as a flowing block. Flowing blocks cannot waterlog with things like trapdoors. So, again, if I show you up here, it's gonna flow around the trapdoor for some reason, but never through it. Same with iron doors. Like if we place water here, it can flow there. If we place water on the trapdoor, then it will only flow that way because it's going downhill. That makes sense, actually. But as you can see, it won't flow into the trapdoor from here. And even though the most logical way would be to go that way, it can never flow through these items. And they chose to do that to keep backwards compatibility. But it leads to all sorts of weird things where, like, yeah, you can place water into a stair block, but the water cannot itself go into that stairs, and whatever. You can do all sorts of strange, weird things with this. And basically, this is why partial blocks are a nightmare for Minecraft. They don't know how to handle all these weird edge case situations, or rather, they can't handle all of them in the correct way at the same time, because 99% of what the Minecraft world is, and 99% of what you're usually building with, are these solid blocks. It's the stone bricks, or the stones, or whatever else, and that's why all of these other things are just confusing to the game. With that said, though, I'm going to continue working on my wall today, and it's going to be fun, because in the same way, also, why do they place stone stairs outwards when there's nothing down here? I guess, we'll have a 3-block wide wall underneath it, because there are all sorts of other fun patterns, by the way. Let's stone cut ourselves some. But something this reminds me of where, like, when people talk about, like, yeah, I think that we need to just make more like stone. We need to make more partial blocks because that's the most fun thing in Minecraft, in my opinion. And the way it should work is like X, Y, Z. Mostly because a lot of these compromises are in there because people make things in their existing worlds, and Minecraft doesn't want to break it. It's a very noble goal if we're being entirely honest with ourselves. Also, I've got inventory management problems. I get it. I'm aware. In fact, let's solve our inventory management problems by using up some of these blocks. Iron bars, for instance, who can ever use them for anything? I don't think they're a very pretty block, and so instead we place a ton of iron bars down, and we make a lovely little thing here, and that's security right there. Look at that. We'll make it go over here a little bit, and now you can't get past the wall because it's got iron bars there. You can't even go through this gap. Maybe a chicken can fit through there, but definitely not a player. So yeah, I bet like a baby rabbit or a baby chicken are the only things that can fit through this. There might be some use in that. I don't know what it would be, but if you want to let baby chickens in and out of somewhere, but not players, I think usually people want the opposite, right? Anyway, so the one I'll show you another interesting design while we do this, because one of the most interesting things about people who have these like complaints about like, well, Minecraft needs to keep being the way that it is right now because that's the way that I expect it to be. And one of the biggest problems with that idea to me is, ooh, what happens if we do this? Okay, it's strange, but it works. Yeah, it's very strange, especially on this side, but it technically does the job. Anyway, yeah, people will be like, yeah, I have this expectation, I built my world around it. And it's this kind of idea that, like, yeah, the way things are now is the way things always should be. And it's funny that, like, people who are on this, like, level, this, like, idea that the way we've done things now is objectively correct. Abjectly, was what I was going for there. But it's like, yeah, we have reached perfection in our current state. So now that we did it that way, we flip it around, and because what we've done is we've obviously made these like 2 wide holes. It's a nice wall, but now let's do it the other way, right? Let's build all of the walls facing backwards, because if we do it like that, I don't even know how to build this wall facing back. I guess we have to place all of them down and then go backwards. But if we do it like this, we can then have 2 sets of slats that are going not parallel to each other in a way that should be a little bit jarring, maybe, or maybe not. I'm not even sure. But yeah, I see this argument all the time. That is the argument of like, we are perfect human beings now, and anyone from the past is worse. I think people often use this to criticize, like, I don't know, the historic figures in whether it's their country or the world. Okay, there we go. That's nice. Look at this. So there's like these little 2 wide gaps where you can clearly see through, but they don't line up with each other, but they look like they do because they're only half a block apart, and it makes for either something very appealing or something very strange. I can't even tell you what that is. But yeah, sorry, to stay on track for more than at least 4 seconds. I think that we often have this idea that people in the past were wrong and we're correct, and I think that's a good vision to have. If we looked back at the people who, again, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 500 years ago, in the case of the UK, one of like the founding document on which all other law is built is generally considered to be the Magna Carta in the UK, and it was some peasants who were like, we don't want to work in exchange for nothing, and it's like, well, I'm sure if you look into the things that he said at the time and his views on women, or his views on, would the average like medieval peasant in 1200 have ever encountered someone of a different race than them? Probably not. So, probably could not have been racist. Wow. The only true non-racists are the, but my point here is to say that, like, a lot of people have this idea that, yeah, we have reached objective morality now, and therefore we can judge people from the past from this standpoint of we are great and they are bad. And I think the only point where that falls flat, because again, objectively, yeah, did you know that, I think people who founded America generally owned slaves, because that's what America, some decent part of several of the states in America's economy were founded on, and it was a valuable commodity because it's funny, like global trade nowadays includes everything. That's why like sanctioning Russia is such a bad thing. But it's funny because like the first thing that like really took off on such a heavy level, besides spices and stuff like that, and tea, funnily enough, was humans. We're like, wow, we can trade humans, and as long as we just ignore the morality of it, and again, like people at the time definitely had their misgivings, but everyone just kind of collectively deluded themselves and said like, yeah, well, they probably want it. Maybe, like maybe they're not even humans. Like all these different, not very good justifications, perhaps you would say, by today's logic. But people, people are bad, right? People from the past are worse than we are now. It would be silly if they weren't. But I also think it's silly to say that, like, well, therefore there's nothing good they have to say, because that implies that morality is objective. If you've ever done something wrong, then you're not, your opinion is not valid. And the reason I disagree with that as a logic is not just because I've done things wrong. Let me tell you. Do you want a long list of all the mistakes I made? One time so if you don't know, I was raised as a Catholic, or like I had to go through the Catholic Church. Like I was never like, it was never like my choice, but like that's generally how like children get into religion, right? Their parents are like, hey, here's this great thing you definitely have a choice in doing, but we're gonna drop you off there and you can do this it's great. We're letting them choose themselves. But so I had that situation going on. And so like there's this stage where they're like, you have to confess all your sins, and then now from here on out you can go to heaven. It's great. Again, I think that's only the Catholic Church. I could be wrong, but like I was like, I'm not gonna trust just a guy in a box. Like they act like it's just like, yeah, it's just you and some great deity in that box, but it's actually it's actually a priest. It's just some guy who's in the box, and it's like, I'm not gonna tell him the bad things that I did. I learned a lesson very early on in life, which is that if you tell people things and they trust you, and they say, trust me, man, I won't tell anyone about it, that is not a guarantee that they won't. And so, yeah, anyway, I don't know how that whole story came off me saying, though morality is not an objective thing, right? It is a very much moving target. It is a, oh, I think I did that wrong. Oh, that's so weird what we've done here with the little, like, this is now a one wide pillar. It's almost like a wall, but it's coming off of a stair. I don't even know what we've done here. I'm just enjoying the ride at this stage. But yeah, it's very weird and almost funny to me that we have this idea, because if you say that if you've ever done something wrong, your opinion is not worth valuing, I can guarantee you having that opinion, your opinion is not worth valuing, because you have definitely done things wrong. But we kind of reserve that as a way of just saying, yeah, therefore people from the past are incorrect, which I like as an idea. Yeah, we do not trust things just because they happened in the past. But people take it to a whole nother level of saying, well, therefore, if all the people in the past are incorrect, only people in the present are right. And let me tell you about my crazy idea about how, I don't know, chickens are people too. Which, I mean, like, you know, like, what is our definition of people? Are chickens not people? Like, I want a chicken. Is that I'm gonna treat the chicken like a person. Is it insane to treat something like a person if it's not a person? I don't know the answers to these questions either. But yeah, basically, to end my insane rambling here, I'm trying to make the point very badly. Oh look, it's a baby sheep. How adorable. Okay, wait, let's focus for a second. My point here is to say that one of the interesting things that I've kind of taken from my recent mini-series, where we went through like old updates, and we played around with the features that we got from those. So, I don't know, an example might be, last week, we built with the jungle stairs and the redstone lamps. Those were revolutionary features when they came out, but as I played around with them now, I was like, well, this isn't, you know, like, it's fun enough, but like, how do we consider that to be a whole update worth? Actually, wait, where are they? Here they are. Okay, so here is my lovely little jungle forest thing. It's very nice, but afterwards, I was like, wow, yeah, I could not imagine that being 4 months worth of Minecraft content. This jungle is so basic to us now because our standards have changed, right? That is not to say that our standards before were objectively wrong and different, but instead that they were based on what we had at the time. And I think this is how I view morality in the real world, that there is always, you know, like, because morals are made up by humans, and humans are kind of inherently imperfect beings, right? Actually, is that controversial? Is it like, do you think most people think humans aren't good, or are good, or do you think most people think that humans aren't? That's an interesting debate I'd love to have. But I keep getting this wrong somehow. But yeah, I think it's really weird to imagine, very interesting to imagine at the very least, that the, okay, we want to place it on this one? Yeah, we do. But I did that wrong, but it's fine. It's very interesting to imagine the fact that we right now could be at the very peak of all civilization that's ever to come. It's kind of just a given, and has been a given for so long, that like, yeah, the way that the world works is we get better. Every single generation is better than the one before it. And for the last like 100-ish years, maybe minus the wars, that's been like broadly true. And it's kind of funny that like we're about to maybe hit the end of that. Maybe right now we are at the peak of you know, like not philosophical, but of like you know, like we're at the peak of human critical thinking, rational thinking. We will never be as smart as we are right now. You know, I really choose to believe that that's not true. But it's funny because when you look at most of history, the things that were considered objective truths of the time that will never change, you know, whether it's the whole like, ooh, the Earth is flat thing. You know, a lot of scientists thought the Earth was a sphere, just not a very big one. Whether it's stuff like, ooh, I reckon that the sun doesn't orbit around the Earth, and actually the Earth orbits around the sun. Or another fun one, in my opinion, it's fun at least, is the like this is crazy to me that this wasn't commonplace knowledge or widely known, but like stars. What if they're not just pretty things in our sky, but actually there's something really far away that is actually exhibiting all of that light? And again, a lot of people being burned at the stake for thinking stuff like that. And I think in the same way we look back and we say, wait, are you serious, Toy Cat? Did they burn a guy at the stake because he said something that is now commonplace scientific belief? Yes, they did. You know, in fact, that's most people they burned at the stake. Probably by nowadays standards or something like that, because it was like the earliest version of shame we had as a society. We worked out that, you know, because if you think about how a base level human civilization needs to work, you need to have reasons for people to want to do good and to be punished for doing bad, perhaps we could say, you know? And one of the easiest ways to do such a thing, you might say, you might not. One of the easiest ways you could do something like that is just to make it so that if you do something bad, we're all going to say very bad things about you, and no one's going to ever trust you again. Problem solved. You go a step further. Let's say that people are starting to move between towns and cities and villages, and you need to really solve this problem, and you could say, yeah, well, if you do something bad, then we're going to kill you. Except, ooh, people don't like murdering people just for, like, one bad thing. And so what do we say? You're a witch. And so now, anytime that there's something bad happening, you can have a witch hunt, we could say. Do you like the... I like the way these squares look when you're slowly going uphill as you do them, by the way. I think this is adding a lot. I think we should just keep that going for as long as we can. Yeah, I really like this. I don't... See, when you play around with stairs, you just accidentally make things that don't even make any sense, really. But you just gotta keep going with them. What else are you gonna do, you know? But, I'm so bad at... It's hard, okay? It's really hard. Yeah, like, I think the witch hunt idea of, like, ultimate level of shame that we could have is we will literally assume that you are only worth burning because you're that bad of a person. It's something that we kind of do today. And, you know, everyone always says this, and, like, I'm not going to say it's, like, a smart, unique idea. But, like, yeah, we trawl through people's social media looking for reasons to hate them, and then we try to go, hey, look how bad this person is. I know no one I know would ever be like this, posting silly things on Facebook or whatever else it may be. I think for this we'll have two circles, one up and one down, and we'll see what the result of that is. It might make things good, it might make things terrible. See, this is the fun of building in Minecraft. You never know until you've done it. This is why I always recommend just, like, have a good build. If you really want to do a creative test, do it. But, like, playing around in survival sometimes is the best way to, like, really learn the consequences of your actions in a way that I wish that people from the past had, and then we would all be better people now. But yeah, so I think that my view, maybe controversially so, is that morality is always going to exist on a sliding spectrum, because you can never be... Oh, that's really weird, actually. I like it, though. I think this might be a fun idea for a wall. I think we've done something good. Even if by accident, I think we made some positive progress today. What do you think? How do you feel about that as an idea? I think we definitely need to put more stone on this. Like, that just seems like a logical idea. Yeah, let's make the front of this just a bit more stony as like a grand entrance. And yeah, we'll call my thoughts about this a day, because I think I can talk about this forever, and just the weird sense that we have of we are the right people now and no one has ever been smarter than us. But then also the same people say, like, educate yourselves. And it's like, no, I don't need to educate myself. I'm at the zenith of human morality, just like you. You know, one of the reasons I think, one of our big flaws in our thinking that we are kind of taught by society is that when you are taught something by a professional teacher, you know, like perhaps a teacher, but they're literally called that, aren't they? But when you're taught something, you're kind of given this view of like, yeah, of course that's right. We put a lot of trust into authority figures, and the fact that so many people learn weird, clearly false things, like one of my favorite examples is apparently in some schools they teach you that blood is blue in the veins and only turns red when it's exposed to oxygen. It's one of those, it's funny because it's one of those theories, like, every time I hear it, I'm like, that is a convincing argument. That would explain why veins are blue and, you know, but also why blood is red. But it's clearly just like, again, it's not true just because it sounds true. As much as we would like to believe, perhaps, as a society that it is. And so yeah, like another example would be, I had a driving instructor, literally his whole life, his whole job, day in and day out, is he teaches people how to drive a car. That is what he does. You get in a car with him, and then later you have learned to drive it. Like, and he was very good at like teaching me a lot of things about driving that weren't necessarily intuitive. But in spite of this, in spite of his 20 years in like experience or whatever else it is, he told me a lot of things that I've just objectively proven as false. In the UK, we have speed limits, but they're like, we only have a few. Unlike America, where a sign can tell you any speed limit, like 25, 35, 45, 55, 50. You know, it can pick any interval of 5, maybe even less than that, I don't know. In the UK, there is only a few set speed limits. 20, 30, 40, 50, and then it's national speed limit after that. But like, those are the speed limits that a sign can tell you about. Maybe there's one for 60 and I've just never seen it. But my point here is to say that, yeah, so my driving instructor, he was like, so every time that, 40 is always written on lampposts, it's repeated every X often, and 20 is only written on the road. This is something I just trusted because he did show me the next few times there was a 20 speed limit, which is obviously like residential, slow down areas, whatever. The next few times there was one of these speed limits, it was written on the road, and I was like, yeah, that's smart. I never realized that. Thank you very much, Mr. Instructor, Mr. Person I am trusting with the knowledge. And then, despite, like, I took this, I've internalized it, and I've even told a couple of people, and then later, after telling people, because I put my trust in this individual, then I start to look around, and I realize, not only do so from my window, I can see a few things, I've got a little bit of nature out there, and I realize I can see a 20 mile per hour speed limit on, like, a lamppost here. Oh, damn. Guess my instructor was telling me about his area. But then I realized that I had literally in my own on my own street, because I've been going back to my old house to clean it out recently. In case you're curious, it's been going very poorly. I hate houses. I just want, like, I feel as though, like, there's a huge amount of money resting on how nice a condition I can get this thing in before I sell it. And it's like, but I don't, that's not, can you just agree to buy it off me even though it's terrible? And apparently that's not how it works. But, so we're gonna place these stairs backwards so as to, there we go, nice. We're gonna make this whole thing out of stairs just to prove that you can use stairs for anything, and there's literally no downsides. Can you even tell? I mean, there's no upsides really either, but there's also no downsides. And so, yeah, I think there's this very weird trust of authority that literally overrid my own evidence because I've been going back to my old house, and on that old house, on the street, there is a 20 sign. Literally, every single day I went anywhere, because it's in both directions, I would have walked past this sign and never thought about it. And then, because my instructor insisted, you'll never see 20 on a sign, I just never saw it afterwards until, I started to question it. And this is why I think questioning is important, because a lot of people use this as justification to be like, well, clearly, all of the time you should just... Oh, also, I think these actually should just be stairs that face upwards, maybe. Yeah, I think that, like, builds into the structure a lot better. I think that my point with this is just to say, like, when you're learning something from someone, they try to teach you to the best of their ability as if they are a authority on everything. Because when you're learning something about, like, I don't know, I had a food teacher that was really, really, really weird at one point. But she did know her stuff about food. I learned how to bake bread, etc. If I start to take the fact that, like, yeah, well, she is a little bit insane, and she doesn't speak correctly, and also, her views on this, let me tell you. If I start to take that into account and ignore her baking logic, then I learn less than if I just go, yeah, I bet she's the supreme baking authority in the world. Did you guys have cooking classes in schools, or is that just a UK thing? I liked my cooking classes so much. Like, I never realized how easy it was to make good food until, like, we just had to do that one lesson. And then I realized afterwards, like, oh, you can, like, I had a really lax, in high school, I had a really lax cooking teacher. And she's just like, make whatever you want, as long as you fill out this form about it, and you come up with some justification as to why it fits into this, then it's fine. Like, there was no, like, grade at the end of the year, so I'd just be like, well, to celebrate Romania, I am going to their sister, like, you can make anything about how you just want to make a bowl of spaghetti, and you could spend a whole class making spaghetti, which, if you think about it, is, like, actually taught me some really valuable skills in a way that, like writing down, ooh, pasta is the powerhouse of the cell or whatever, would not have helped me out at all. Do you like this, by the way? I like it. I think we could go a little bit further out, and then we could also place some more torches underneath it. But yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job. But yeah, so I feel as though we have this, like, trust of teachers, and it's funny because there is this high level of education. Like, the university level is the highest we go. in most of the world. Like, I guess you can go technically higher in the form of work experience. But people, like, we are taught that, like, yes, if you pay lots of money to these people who are coincidentally being paid money, like, their whole business model is in certifying that you are smart enough to work somewhere. And so there's definitely no adverse incentives in you paying them more money to learn there, to get the thing that will make you more money. Let's not think about that too much. But if you are at this, like, highest level, you would assume that the things that your teachers are saying, you know, these are not only people that have gone through the highest level of education, you know, university professors and lecturers or whatever you call them where you are, but also these are people who have gone through that level and then got to a level above it to start teaching it. My God, these must be some crazy smart individuals or what, right? But the problem being that, like, actually they have their own heavy set of biases. I mean, it's a position with very little risk. Like, there's not much reward to... Yeah, if they teach you much better, they don't get paid more. And also, because of the way tenure works and stuff like that, they have extreme job security, but not necessarily the best paying conditions. This is going to reflect how they view not only, you know, the politics, but also the world at large. And so when they're teaching you very smart things they're knowledgeable about, like, oh, did you know that, you know, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? You'd be like, whoa, I heard that elsewhere. They must be correct. And then they'll be like, wow, did you also know? And yeah, again, it's like perfectly fine to, like, listen to people and be like, oh, that's a really interesting opinion you have about insert crazy off the wall thing here. But because of the fact that we're kind of, like, in this world where we have extreme trust, it's like, oh no, that's gotta be just one of the sources that you use to, you know, it's funny, like, it's in so many, like, contexts, you learn to be critical and to question why people tell you the things that they tell you. But then the people telling you the way to be critical, you'll always assume, like, well, I don't need to be critical about that. In the same way, you know, like, in this video, I've stated some opinions about how I think the Earth is round, and how, oh God, this is, I don't know what's happened here, but I like it actually. You know what? Can we change? How does that even? Oh, I guess the stair is facing. They're both facing this way. So if we change this one to also face this way, then, oh yeah, I like that a lot actually. I don't even understand what it is, but I like it. Anyway, I think that to kind of summarize today, I think that in the same way that, like, I'm saying these words as if I'm an authoritative source, but I think the key message is that, like, actually not even always, right? Everything I've said here is just, you know, my take on things, and you always need to remember that when you're listening to things. But it's the hardest thing because we're kind of hardwired. If you think about, like, the apprentice and the master system, if you think about all these different ways that we learn things, we learn them as if people are objective fountains of truth, because 95% of what someone says probably is true. It's just the problem is when you're hard and fast set that the other 5% must be as well, that we start to run into problems. And speaking of running into problems, I hope that you have all enjoyed today's video. If you have, then do you like my wall, by the way? I'm only just now realizing, like, yeah, we kind of went with a lot of different designs and just smashed them all together, huh? But I like it. It's a good way of keeping the jungle nice and safe. Now I think we can make, like, a little staircase to link this to the jungle, and then we'll make a long road to link this to our random block area, and it'll make sense. I hope this video has made sense, at least somewhat. Just a reminder, I'm really excited. The merch stuff is being worked on. I've had lots of people ask questions about that, so I just want to be clear that we are now in, like, the sampling phase. I always want to be anything that I'm ever going to sell to anyone out there, much less like, actually, I want to make sure it's as good as it can possibly be. I know a lot of people just see merch as like, oh, it's a way to make a bit of money from people. No, this is going to be a solid, good product that I'm going to be happy with before I can even, like, mention exactly what's going down with people. But yeah, I'm really excited. We're gonna have a limited time thing, and then we're gonna have, like, an actual long-term store, including the "we will all die someday" mugs, which I'm very excited about. Anyway, speaking of things I'm excited about, hope you all enjoyed this video. The number of contracts I've had to be, because I'm looking for, like, this really non-standard item. Sometimes I wish I was just the lazy person who is like, well, you know, I'll just print a t-shirt, put the Toy Cat logo on, call it a day. But the new stuff, I'm gonna make sure it's I'm gonna make sure you're gonna be as happy with it as I am. Also, just as a fun thing, the button and the stairs and the whatever thing, I also used for this weird aqueduct that I made in a background gameplay. And just to show you this, if you've never seen it, so we want to activate it. It's the weirdest. It's weird on a lot of levels, is what I'm trying to say here. Because I was like, yeah, we'll just make an aqueduct for some background gameplay, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't. Why is this true? Because I don't even know. Anyway, yeah, like look at this. It clearly should be flowing over here. It's not even the pressure plates that make it not, by the way. Oh, it is the pressure plates that make it not. Even though the block is 1.5 things tall. Well, okay, let's go grab that pressure plate real quick. No! See, this is why you don't trust everything you read on the internet. And speaking of things you don't trust on the internet, I hope that you choose to do some independent research before liking that. I'm just kidding. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then like, favorite, subscribe, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.